what developed my leadership or my leadership models. And the first one, the first memory I have is really of my dad. My dad, I remember we had just moved from South Africa. My mother being French, my father being Belgian. There was definitely a cultural misfit living in South Africa for them. It was difficult, especially for my mother. So we left. And by the way, my dad was very, very successful. I remember when we moved to South Africa, he took me to buy a business, a small hardware store. I still remember we walked into this house. It seemed to me like it was dark. We walked into a room, and there was the owner sitting in a bed, right? He was ill. There was a lawyer next to him and his wife to the left, and they signed the papers. And that's how my dad. So my first thought of a leader is, here's my dad who bought a hardware store. Fast forward 7 years, he had built a large hardware store on 2 stories in a building that the top floor had 10 or 15 offices. So he had done very well, yet he left it. He left it because of, as I told you, the cultural misfits. The challenge is we moved back to the Congo. At the time, that was the first time I saw my dad as an employee. And after 3 months, I remember seeing him on the edge of his bed, dejected, depressed, and my mother with her arm around him. And that was his moment that he said, I'm going back, I'm taking another risk. And he opened his own hardware store back in the Congo. And again, fast forward from that, he opened 2 factories. So when I came back from university, MBA, my first work, I landed in the Congo, Zaire at the time. There was hyperinflation, triple digits, and my father paid his employees on a weekly basis. But you can imagine with the devaluation, it meant nothing. Along with the paycheck was commodities. There was rice, there was pilchard, there were tuna, and that was what he gave along with them to them for sustenance. Fast forward months later, when there was a uprising, my mother was unfortunately ill on her deathbed in Nice, France, and my wife Cheryl had stayed working for the U.S. Embassy, and she got evacuated, and the bus out drove in front of the factories, my dad's factory. On the left and on the right side of our factory, the buildings were on fire. And my dad's factory in front were the employees protecting the factory.
Oh my goodness.
Lesson number one.
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Unbelievable. Lesson number one is always treat your employees well, because you never know how they're going to pay you back. And that was my message throughout my career of how I would handle my employees. So fast forward, so lesson number one in leadership, I had to close 3 stores in the island of St. Martin, and I made sure that every one of my employees at the time was Little Switzerland had a job by the time we ended it. I got an award from them. The only awards I keep in my session room are 2 awards, both of them from employees, not from the companies. Wow. The employees gave me an award for the way I treated them on the exit. So leadership model, very employee focused, very relationship focused, listening, and that came later on in life. By the way, I got in Mexico, I got a big lesson in humility, and that really also affected my leadership style. So how am I as a leader today? When I hire somebody, I actually have a leadership model that I got from a workshop with Doug Conant. And it is basically what are my core values, what's important for me, and let's say slide presentation that I shared with the group here, with our group, our leadership team. And it's what I sit down with my direct reports when I hire them, and I say, this is who I am, this is my family, And I'll tell you my pet peeves, what I don't like, what I am not willing to accept, and so it gets them on the learning curve really fast.
Could you share a little bit more with us about what that sheet says? What does it say that I need to know about working with you or for your company? And what are your pet peeves? Tell us a little bit more about your style.
Um, I would say high standards, but with a heart. I see a relationship. We learn our jobs. We don't know it from the get-go. So, but I want high standards, and yet there's a human factor that's important. Another one is that I hate drama. I'm very much to the point. So if we have a situation, I don't want the long story. I just want to have the summary of what's going on and what you suggest we do to resolve it.